G'day, this is Mr. Thompson, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use Fusion to create a key tag that looks something like this. It might not be exactly like that, but pretty close to that. So the idea of this video is so that you can get used to Fusion, get a bit familiar with it, and we'll use it later in the course for some more detailed things. So let's get started. So I'm going to close that. We're going to start from scratch. First thing about Fusion, this little 9 dots here, that opens or closes your data panel, and your data panel is where you store your designs, and you can set up projects if you want, which are like folders. I'm just going to use the default project, which is just the place that you put any one-off files that you want to create. So when you open Fusion, by default, you'll have this untitled design open, and it'll probably show you the browser here. You can open and close the browser, and there's no design in there yet. So I'm just going to close that as well. All right, so to get started, usually what we do with Inventor is we start by creating, with Fusion, is we start by creating a sketch. So I'm going to click on Create Sketch here. There, and it's asking me which plane do I want to draw my sketch on. And I can choose between these 3 planes here. So I'm going to do my key tag on the XY plane. That's the flat plane there. So I'm going to select that plane by clicking on it. Now, so now it's in a sketch. Now it's in a 2-dimensional sketch. I guess a few things you want to know. You can, in this view here, or in any view, you can move around by clicking on this pan tool. That's the hand down the bottom. So click on that, and then we can move our screen around like that, and we can click on it again or actually press escape to stop panning. And there's some zoom tools here. These tools are a little bit, actually fit is useful. I'll show you that later. But if you've got a wheel mouse is definitely useful when you're using Fusion. So if you've got a mouse with a wheel on it, you can scroll the wheel to zoom out or zoom in. If you haven't got a wheel mouse, you can pinch or stretch on your laptop track point, on your trackpad. So, the mouse pad that you've got on your laptop. So zooming in and zooming out is pretty handy. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to draw a shape. So I'm going to use rectangle here. So I'm going to click on rectangle, and I'm going to click on, well, actually there's different types of rectangles. Let's choose this center rectangle. So I come over here and click on center rectangle and click on the center there. So click once and release. So I'm not dragging, just clicking and releasing, and then moving my mouse. And you know what? I'm just going to draw any old rectangle shape, because I'm going to add the dimensions later. All right, now I'm going to click on this circle tool. So now actually, if you can't see your tools, you might find them under here. Yeah. So depending on how big your screen is, if you've got a small laptop screen, you might not find the tools, but you'll find them underneath. Okay. So using the circle tool or circle here, that one there, or I could even press C on my keyboard. See that C? That means I can use C for circle. So let's click on circle there, and I'm going to come over here. Now see that triangle that appears when I go near the, see that triangle? That triangle means I'm on the center point of that line. So I'll see that line there when I get to the center. So I'm going to click on that center point there so the triangle appears. Click there once, and then move my mouse and click it, and then click again on the corner there. Okay, and that's sort of got the basic shape of my key tag. All right, now let's set the sizes. So I'm going to use, actually, see how I'm still in circle drawing mode? See my cursor has still got a circle. If I press escape on the keyboard, then that takes me out of circle drawing mode. And any mode that you're in, pressing escape once, or sometimes you have to press escape a few times if you're sort of deep into a mode, it'll take you back to the normal cursor. So if what you're doing doesn't work, press escape a few times, and then select your tool again and do what you need to do. All right, let's put some dimensions in. So we can either do D for dimensions, so press D on the keyboard, or we can go here, we can create a sketch dimension, but I'm just going to use D. So whenever we want to size things, D for dimension, and that brings up the dimension cursor there. So we're in the dimension tool. So I'm going to click on this line here, click and release, and then come out to here and then just click again. Now, I'm thinking that, well, that's pretty big. The keyboard, the key ring we want to make, I'm thinking that should be about, no bigger than 35 millimeters. So if I type 35 like that, that's a short fat one. So now I'm going to click on this line here, click and release, come over here, click there somewhere. Now not 35, I'm thinking let's try 15. Actually I think that's too long and skinny. I'm just zooming in and out with my mouse wheel. So double click here again. Instead of 15, maybe 25. That's not bad. Let's try 20. 20. Okay, so get the size that you think works for you. Okay, now I'm going to press escape to get out of my dimension tool. And I'm just being a little bit pedantic here. I'm just going to move my dimensions so they look neat and tidy. It's normal practice to put your dimensions outside your sketch. Okay, now my sketch now, those lines were blue. Now they've gone black, which means I've added all the dimensions and constraints that I need. I have fully defined or fully constrained that sketch. So that's good. All right, now what I want to do, I'm going to finish that sketch. So now I'm back in sort of the 3D world and I'm going to extrude. So if we click here on create, see this extrude or this button here, or we can use the letter E on our keyboard. So in fact, let's do that. E on the keyboard, E for extrude. And I'm going to select, it's asking me to select the profiles. See how that select where it's blue? It's asking me to select the profiles I want to extrude. So the profiles just means what are the areas that I want to turn into three-dimensional objects. So I'm going to click there in the middle of that box there. I'm going to click in this area here and this area there, because all of those there, I want to make those into 3 dimensions. So now before I do that, I'm going to come up here and there's my view cube. View cube is really handy. I can grab that and see how I can change the view. So I can click on the home button and it changes it to an isometric view, or I can look at it from front view, which doesn't show much at the moment because it's only 2-dimensional, or I can rotate my view cube around, or I can use these little arrows here, or I can click on the corner of a cube. So there's a bunch of things I can do. I'm going to click back on the home again. Now, this is my 2-dimensional shape. I want to turn that into a 3-dimensional shape. So I'm going to lift it up like that. Can you see how that makes it in that 2D shape? That sketch now becomes a solid. So now how far? At the moment it's 2 millimeters high. And I think, you know what, I'm going to make it 3 millimeters high. So I'm going to type in, so I could drag that until it says 3 millimeters. In fact, if I'm zoomed out, you'll find it'll sort of go up and down by 5 millimeters at a time. If I zoom in closer, it'll let me go up and down by 1 millimeter at a time. But what I can do is I can just come over here and say, what's the distance? I'm going to say 3 millimeters, 3, enter, and there we go. So now my sketch has become a 3D shape. And as I said before, I can use the view cube here to look at it from different angles and click the home to take me back to that home view. All right, what am I going to do next? The next thing I'm going to do is I want to create a sort of a rim around the outside. So I'm going to create another sketch. So I'm going to click on this create sketch. Now, instead of choosing one of these planes, I'm just going to choose this top surface of my keyring. Yep, so just click on the top surface there. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit with my wheelie mouse or my mouse wheel like that. And now I need to draw another line inside there. Now the easy way to do that is to use this offset tool. So I could use O on the keyboard for offset, or I could go modify offset, or I could just click there. Any one of those will do. So let's do offset. And I'm going to select this outside curve and I'm going to say, I'm going to offset. See how that's created an offset? And that offset, I can make that bigger or smaller. I actually want a negative offset because I want that offset to come inside the shape. And in fact, I'm thinking as a distance, I'm thinking maybe -2 millimeters. So -2 and then enter. And that's created a little boundary. Now that little boundary there, if I use my view cube, that little boundary there is still only 1-dimensional. And now I've got to extrude it to make it two-dimensional. So if I can press E for extrude, and then I can click on that profile there, and then I can extrude that profile. I think I'm going to go up by 2 millimeters. Yeah? So I can type 2, or I can use my arrow until it gets to 2, and then I'm going to click OK. All right, so that's looking pretty good so far, I think. Now, you know what? I'm thinking I probably should have made that first thing. I made it 3 millimeters high. I'm going to change my mind. I think it should be 2 millimeters high, because this whole thing now is 5 millimeters high, which I think is too much. So I'm actually going to come back down here. See down here I've got a timeline. That timeline, if I scroll this back, takes me backwards in time to the first steps that I had. Yeah. So this point here, that was the first extrude that I did. That was when I extruded the bottom. So if I double click on that, I can go back to that first extrude that I did, and it was, remember, it's 3 millimeters, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think I prefer 2. I'm going to make it 2 millimeters, and then I'm going to click OK, and see it's made it thinner, and everything else is still okay. So it's redrawn the whole keyring, but it's used that new thickness of 2 millimeters there. All right, next thing I want to do, I think I want to put a hole in here. So let's do that. I think to do a hole, I might put a circle on the back there and then cut all the way through. So I'm going to click on Create Sketch there, like that. And let's see, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to press C for circle. And I'm going to click, I don't know, somewhere in here, like that. And then stretch out for, I don't know, I'm thinking about 4 millimeters. So if I click 4, then enter. Okay, now that circle there is blue. See how it's blue there? So that means we haven't fully defined where it's got to be. So I'm going to use D for, well, actually, I'm going to do some constraints. I'm going to use this horizontal vertical constraint here. So if I click on that, now if I click on the center there and on the origin, what that means is that center now is horizontally aligned with that center point. So if I press escape, you can see I can still move this around, but I can't get it off that center line because I put that constraint on there. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do D for dimension. So D on my keyboard for dimension. And I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here. Oh, that didn't work. Over here again. Oh, there we go. And there's a dimension there. So if I click down here, now at the moment that hole is 22.66 millimeters away from the center. It needs to be further this way, doesn't it? I think that hole needs to be closer to this side. So let's try a few things. Let's try 24 millimeters, enter. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? I think that's probably a good spot. So that's 4 millimeters all the way across. So that's probably 2 millimeters there. So now I'm going to press E for extrude, and I'm going to click there like that. And now the last time we did an extrude, we did an extrude where we're creating extra shape. I'm going to do a different type of extrude where we're actually doing a cut. So if I push back this way, can you see now it's creating a hole because I'm extruding backwards into the material that's already there. So that's a cut. See down the bottom here how it says cut. So if I come back here, see, if I'm making more material, that's called a join operation. If I'm coming backwards and I'm cutting away something that I've already built, well, that's a cut extrusion. Okay, now, how far do I want to cut? I'm going to cut, I can have a few choices here. I'm going to cut all the way to a particular object. Actually, you know what? Let's just use all. That means I want to cut through everything. So if I click on, so first I make sure that I'm going in the right direction. Yep, so I'm going backwards, and then extent type, I'm going to say all. So go backwards through everything. If I come back through here, you can see now that's actually cut through everything. So, okay. All right. And now I've got a hole. Good. Now I'm thinking I probably want my rim around the outside. I want my rim around that hole as well. So let's do that. I'm going to create another sketch. So click on sketch. I'm going to click on this plane here. That's the top surface there, like that. And let's zoom a bit so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to zoom in here. Now I'm going to create a circle. So C for circle, or I could use this circle tool. So C for circle. And I'm going to come over and click on the center of that circle. Well, actually, you know what? There's a few ways I could do this. Yeah, I could use an offset and offset that curve, but I'm just going to click on the center of that circle like that. Click on the center and come out to, I don't know, about there. And now D for dimension. And I'm going to say click that one and that one. And now it's going to say, well, what's the distance between those two curves? I think the distance between those curves, I'd like them to be 2 millimeters. Enter. So that now is 2 millimeters. All right. Now, I want to extrude that. So I'm going to, I could finish the sketch and then extrude, or if I just press E, it'll automatically finish my sketch for me, and then it'll extrude. So E for extrude, and that's automatically finished the sketch and opened my extrude dialog box. Which profile do I want to extrude? I want to extrude that profile there. Okay, and I'm just going to click on home so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to extrude upwards. Now that I want to go 2 millimeters, but I think it's better if I say, instead of saying 2 millimeters, I'm going to say extrude to an object. So how far am I going to extrude? I'm going to extrude all the way to that level there, okay, the level of that face. And can you see now it's automatically gone to that face? What that means is if I ever change the height of that face, then this will automatically extrude to whatever height I change it to. So clicking on OK there, looking good. All right. Okay, now I'm going to put some text here. So to put some text here, I need to create another sketch. So I'm going to click on Create Sketch, like that. Click on this front face, like that. Let's just zoom out a little bit. I'm going to create text down here, like that. And I'm going to click up here, click and release, come down here, click and release, and that's sort of like my window that I'm going to draw my text in, like that. And here I'm going to type my text. So I'm going to put Mr. T. Okay, you can put whatever you want in as long as it fits. Now I can move this around if I want to. Now at the moment, I can do some settings here, yeah, so I can align the center or the middle. That's quite nice. I can change the size. Now this is not the same font point size that you have in Word or something. This is actually millimeters. So at the moment that's 10 millimeters, and that looks pretty good. If you wanted, you could change yours to, if you change to 5 millimeters, then you could put a longer word in there, or you could even do 2 rows. But I think for me, that 10 was pretty good. So I'm going to stick with that. You can choose whichever font you want. So I don't know if you like, everybody hates Comic Sans, but I sort of like it. So there we go. Mr. T like that. Okay. And now that's still only one-dimensional. That's still a sketch. So of course, again, to turn a sketch into something three-dimensional, I need to extrude. So E for extrude will finish the sketch and open the extrude tool for me. So E has finished the sketch. Oh, now can you see that's selected that whole profile? I don't want that whole profile, so I'm just going to delete that, delete that selection, and then I'm going to select again. This time I'm only going to select the lettering, not the background. Okay, and then if I drag up, you can see how now it's creating three-dimensional text. In fact, if I want to, I could drag back. I could cut a hole with that lettering in through the key tag. Now, that's only going to work if you've got a letter O or an E or an A or something with a hole in it. That's not going to work for you. So look, I'm going to do a key tag where the lettering is raised up. So let's do that. And how far? Again, well, what I want to do, I want to raise it up to the same height as that rim that I put on there before. So I'm going to do extent type. I'm going to go to object, and then I'm going to click on this face here. So that's the object that I want it to be level with that object there. So if I use my view cube now, you can see if I try to line that up, see it's gone exactly to the right height. Okay, now I'm going to go okay. And that looks pretty good. We could print that already, but you know what? I'm just going to refine it a little bit more. I'm thinking these sharp edges here, I'd like to make those a little bit curved, make them rounded. So I'm going to use this fillet tool. So you can click it there, you can click there, or you can come down here and find it there, or you can just use F on your keyboard. Let's open the fillet tool. Okay, so the first thing I've got to do is I've got to pick the edges that I'm going to fillet. So I'm going to use my view cube here so I can see them. And let's see, that edge there, I want, instead of that being sharp, I want that to be a corner. And I'm going to pick this edge here. So you can see how I can sort of click through. Or maybe you can't click through, because when you, if we come down here to display settings, I've got shaded with hidden edges. You've probably just got shaded because that's the default. And you might not be, oh, actually you can still click through, can't you? But if you want to see all those hidden edges, just change the display settings, visual style, down to, I like this one here, shaded with hidden edges, because then I can see my faces, but I can also see those dotted lines underneath, so I can see, I can sort of see through my object. So anyway, what have I done? I've clicked on that one there. I'm going to click on this one here as well. So can you see they're both selected? It says here the two edges are selected. And here I can select the radius. So let's try, I don't know, what does 4 millimeters look like? That's a bit too much. I might go maybe 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters. You know what? I think 2 millimeters is about what I want. You choose what you want. Okay. Now I'm going to do some more fillets because I want those corners as there as well. So I can go add, I can choose some more corners. I'm going to choose these ones here, that one there, and that one there. And I'm going to make them 4. Actually, I like 4 because those ones, did I say those ones on the inside were 2 and those ones on the outside were 4. Let's see, does that look, that looks pretty good. So that means that that whole width around there, all the way around that corner is 2 millimeters. So I think because there's a 2 millimeter difference, I guess that because that rim is 2 millimeters apart, having that inside radius being 2 and that outside radius being 4, that keeps it nice and even all the way around. So I like that. All right. You know what? I'm going to go okay. I want to add some more fillets, but I just wanted to show you there's more than one way of doing this. See, that's my fillets there. If I double click on that, that takes me back into the fillets that I just did. Or I can actually add another fillet. So if I click up here again, then I can go plus, and I can click on, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to click on that one there and zooming in that one there. And now if you make a mistake when you're selecting those edges, you can just delete them and start again. Okay, so that one there and that one there, like that. Okay, now, I think I probably only need 1 for this edge. 1, yeah, that's good. See how that's made a nice curved edge there? See, if I went 2, that would probably be, you can do that. You do whatever you decide works for you. I'm going to go 1 for that one, and okay. And see, down on my timeline, there's my first 2 fillets that I did, and there's my second fillet that I did. All right. Okay, I think that's pretty much ready. That's ready to print. So to 3D print this now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to Utilities. Well, actually, no, before I'm going to do anything, I'm going to save it. So I'm going to go save like that, and I'm going to call it Keytag. I might already have a Keytag. I don't know. Let's see what happens when I press, down here, save. Okay, that was okay. I didn't have one called Keytag. All right. So that's saved. And you know what? I haven't gone and shown you how to rename all your sketches We shouldn't actually have them called sketch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should rename all these things, but you know what? I'll show you later and maybe in another video how to do that. This is just a getting started video, so you get the hang of it. All right, so to print this, we're going to go to Utilities to do a 3D print, and we're going to click on Make. When we click on Make, it says it wants us to select the body. So we've only got one body in our drawing, it's that one, so I've got to select it. So now that body is selected. I'm going to leave all this STL, millimeter, high refinement. I'm going to leave all of that. I'm not going to worry about anything in there. Now, I'm at home, and at home I've got a 3D print slicer on my computer, so I can tick that box and it automatically sends that to my slicer to convert it into a 3D print file. But you won't have that on your computers at school. So on your computers at school, you need to untick that box and then click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to export your design as an STL file, which is the file that most people use for 3D printing. So you're going to give it a name. At the moment it's called body1, call it Keytag. So it's going to create a file called keytag.stl. And what you want to do is, oh, that's hard to see, isn't it? Let me just move that up a little bit. You want to click on this icon, this button down here that says Save to my computer. Actually, you know what? I think I can do. Can I do this? Yeah. Okay. Good. I can this one here, so I can see the bottom of my dialog box. Okay. So I want to save this STL file to my computer somewhere. And in fact, what you want to do is you want to go and find, save it on your computer somewhere, or save it straight onto a USB key. And when you save it onto your USB key, then we can take it to our computer in our classroom that's got the 3D print slicer on it, and we can send it to the 3D printer. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK, and it's going to create my STL file in that folder there. So save, and it's created the STL file. All right, that'll do for now. Feel free to have a tinker with that, have a bit of a play, come back into your timeline. Maybe you can edit some of your sketches or edit some of your extrudes and try changing settings and see what that works. Just have a bit of a tinker around with Fusion and see what sort of things you can do. All right, that'll do. Hope you enjoyed it.